Anyway, let's keep going until we find the next decision point. Maybe it'll become clear where we are in the guide then. Got the game. Yeah, everything's looking good. Sounding good, I think. Oh god, I was within an inch of... I mustn't panic. Nothing is clear yet. Mia? I'm fine. Don't worry. I just have to go home now. I think I saw Uncle's silhouette in the window. He will not be pleased. Ah, this is when we've just identified that the quartz we found outside might have been related to the murders. Further confirming that the strange person in the hood who went the other night may have been the murderer watching us. Yeah, I understand. Good night, then. Good night, Robin. I literally ran to my room. My heart was pounding from the thought that my guess could turn out to be true. There's nothing worse than when your heart's pounding. But I shouldn't worry. Tomorrow morning I will fearlessly go see Uncle. Let him have a look at that sparkly rock. Day 4. The attack. It's just very funny when she says she shouldn't worry, and then the next day is called the attack. This night, I couldn't get myself to sleep. Barely had morning come, I quickly got dressed, took the crystal, and headed out to look for Uncle. I ran out into the hallway, wondering whether Uncle Ascol was awake yet. It was, after all, still very early. Good morning, milady. Bernard, I'm so happy to see you. Tell me, is Uncle up yet? I have some urgent matters I need to discuss with him. Lord Silverlight hasn't gone to sleep yet. Experiments, you know. One day he'll regret being so careless about his own health. If you would like to see him, he's in his study. But I wouldn't advise disturbing my lord while he's working. Thanks, Bernard. I walked up to the door of Uncle's study. I felt extremely uncomfortable distracting him from his work, but I had no other choice. I knocked. This goddamn knock sound effect gets me every time. There was no response for a few moments, but then the study's door opened. Uncle Ascol appeared in the doorway. He looked highly annoyed. Bernard, how many times have I asked you not to bother me while I'm working? Mia, what do you want here? I hope you have something truly important to say, since you made the decision to interrupt my work process. Uncle was clearly unhappy that I distracted him. I felt extremely awkward, especially when it turns out that this rock is nothing more than a meaningless piece of glass. Pardon me. I wanted to show you this. I pulled out the crystal and held it out for Uncle, praying that this would turn out to be something truly important. Uncle cast only one glance at the crystal. It was enough for him to grab me by the arm, which he had never done before, and drag me into the study, slamming the door on the way. And I just lost the bottle for my, lost the lid for my drink. That's great. Where did you get this? Tell me immediately. I was shocked by Uncle's behavior. Never before had he forgotten his manners. I found it yesterday by the stairs that lead into the mansion. Why didn't you show it to me immediately? It was late, and I didn't want to interrupt you. I thought that it was dropped by that stranger in the black robe I was telling you about last morning. The one that was spying on me a few days back. You said that I must notify you if anything happens. That's why I brought it here. I thought that this might interest you. Well, you did the right thing for once in a while. This really is a very important find. Will you tell me about this rock? Could it really be used by the killer? The newspaper said that the maniac puts quartz crystals in the mouths of its victims. You're so curious. Uncle let out a heavy sigh and looked at me in the face. All right, I'll tell you about the stone. You see, those idiots from the police think that with the help of this stone and other objects, the murderer is trying to imitate a magic ritual. Yep, we know all this. Let's skip on ahead. Okay, next day at school. Oh, if anyone only knew how much I don't want to see Professor Coldstone today. Then again, not just today, any day. I wonder if he's still angry at me. Ah, yes, we haven't yet found out that Lauren has been attacked. We were waiting outside for Lauren and now we're late to class because it turns out Lauren was attacked last afternoon. I walked into the academy and straight away headed for the ethics classroom. Suddenly, someone blocked my path. Damn, Half-Blood, why didn't you come yesterday? Looks like Alistair's really angry. This sudden accusation caught me off guard and made me feel scared, though I did try to hide it. You what? I waited for you in that damn garden for over an hour like an idiot. I didn't think it was that important. It wasn't that important. Was it that hard for you to come? Sounds like Alistair was very angry. But after all, I'm not his toy. Why would I do everything he tells me? Why? Were you standing there for so long that everyone started pointing at you? Like, look, Alistair's been standing there for a while now. Some girl must have tricked him into waiting and didn't come. Don't be stupid, dimwit. No one could ever think that someone could do that to me. Don't forget, I'm Alistair Darkrose. So what? Anyone can look like a fool. You're no exception. Admit it. You're just trying to drive me crazy. Me? Oh, I could never. You're the great Alistair Darkrose. Who would do that to you? Damn. What the fuck? What the fuck, Alistair? What the fuck? Damn. One day I'll kill you, you stupid creature. That's not, playful banter. That's fucking... What the fuck? I waited for you. Don't you get it? I was hoping that you'd come. I'm sorry, but I had better things to do. Did those things have something to do with a red-headed mage from the nearby academy who keeps hanging out here in the evenings? What? Does he mean Wilhelm? Oh god. No, it had nothing to do with him. And anyway, that's Lauren's cousin, and he comes to see her, not me. Oh great, Alistair. That's not jealousy I hear, is it? Like I don't have anything better to do. Who's there to be jealous of anyway? A dropout mage? You think too highly of yourself, Half-Blood. Maybe, but I'm not nearly as self-absorbed as you are. Do you even plan on going to class? The bell rang a long time ago. You don't want to be in any more trouble with the professor, do you? What about you? You're not in class either, as far as I can tell. I'm allowed to be out. Goldstone asked me to get chalk. But you, on the other hand, better run as fast as you can, and then beg on your knees for the professor's forgiveness. Sorry if I said it, do we have a goal for this ending? We are just trying to romance Alistair, I believe. Although, I'm not sure why we didn't wait for him. Follow the stranger. Although there seems to be, like, learning about our mother as well in this storyline. Yeah, I guess we're going for the bad ending for Alistair first. Because we didn't go see him after school. So yeah, we're trying to romance this jerk of a elf. I don't know why. Considering he just threatened to kill us. Alistair is actually right. I can't afford being any more late. I keep coming late all the time as it is. It's even making me feel guilty. though it's not like I'm doing it on purpose.
I'm only mandated to have a 2-minute flower break while working. Now move out of the way so I can look at those flowers.
Hi, Augie. Happy Saturday night / Super Bowl Eve. Ah, yes, the Super Bowl. I didn't realize that the Super Bowl was played in winter. I mean, it's still winter for you Americans, right? I don't know why I thought of it as, like, something that happened in your summer. But yes, I take it you're excited for the Super Bowl, Augie? I completely forgotten about it up until, like, just a few days ago. Mind you, not that I pay much attention to it in the first place. I walked up to the door and knocked, hoping that it'll work out all right. Always gotta remember that for that second knock. Goldstone's voice boomed from behind the door. Come in. My heart skipped a beat at the thought of how mad the professor will be when he sees that it's me. Maybe it would have been better if I skipped, but it's too late to think about that now. Mia Silverlight? You dare to shop at my lesson? The fuck does that mean? No, you had to look up who was playing against Kansas City on Wednesday? Ah, okay. Not a big... you don't keep your finger on the pulse of, football. Hand Egg. Ah, okay, you really watch Hand Egg nowadays? You dare to shop at my lesson after everything you've done. I can't even begin to guess what that means. Does he mean stop? That doesn't make sense. This must just be like some phrase that doesn't translate well into English. Anyway, you dare to shop at my lesson after everything you've done? I hope you know that I've sent your papers to be considered for expulsion from the academy for academic failure, systematic tardiness, and abominable behavior. Sent my papers, okay. What? Oh no. Uncle will be very unhappy to hear this. Though, he didn't scold me for being rude to the professor, but my expulsion can't possibly make him happy. You are a shameful stain on the fair name of our academy. But anyway, Augie, how's your week been going? How's your day going? And how's the rest of your weekend going? Will you be watching the Super Bowl? I know that even people who aren't that interested in Hand Egg tune in to Super Bowl still. I heard chuckling behind my back. When I helplessly looked over my shoulder, I saw the triumphant faces of Rose Marie and Louise. Strange, but Lauren wasn't in the room. I swear on my professional honor that I will do everything possible for you to be out of here by the end of this year. Saving your breath? What happened to your audacity and impudence which you demonstrated not so long ago? Audacity and impudence? Oh, why not? I'm not going to keep studying here anyway, since Goldstone has his mindset. I just don't think that you'd want to listen to my explanation. We have a friend not involving the superb owl. I've never heard it called the superb owl before. Okay. So you've got other plans. Everyone knows that Professor Goldstone can only listen to himself. Oh, so that's it. What else does everyone know about me? You're mindless of others. There's no opinion other than your own for you. There's no opinion other than your own for you. That's a weirdly worded diss. But you can't always be right. No one can. I'm a teacher. It's part of my responsibilities to be always right. And I know for sure that you're the most ungifted student on the course and have no right to accuse me of anything. I heard my course mates laughing at me. I felt hurt, and it hurt twice as much because Lauren wasn't in the room. Even her mere presence would have been supportive. You grew up playing soccer? And follow men and women professional soccer and cute including MLS, NWSL, and EPL. It's hard to watch Australia W League here stateside. That's the women's league, right? I don't care what you think about me, but the academy head teacher, Count Brokencastle, will be very eager to find out how students behave within the walls of their alma mater. This is getting ugly. I don't know that much about soccer other than Sam Kerr is like a national hero. She truly is a delight to watch on the field. Many of the NWSL players head down under for off-season play. Well, yeah, I suppose soccer doesn't have that much prestige in America. We definitely do appreciate it more here in Australia, I think. This is getting ugly. Right when I wanted to say something, there came a knock on the door. It turned out to be ALEISTER, who returned and brought the Professor chalk. You really took your time, young man. Have a seat. You too, Miss Silverlight. You've already taken up a lot of our time. I breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that the execution was over. Only now, it's unclear what to do with the consequences. I think I should have a heart-to-heart talk about it with Uncle. However dreadful may Lord Asgold Silverlight be, he seems to truly care about me. Before I could finish that thought, someone knocked on the door. Can wait for the second knock. Yep, there we go. Here we go again. Who could it be? Maybe it's Lauren. Maybe she's just really late because of something. Come in, said Professor in his habitual manner, apparently thinking that it was some student. But no one came in. Further still, the knocking repeated itself. Just come in, like when the guy says come in, you come in. I don't understand this. I know it's not a student, but why is he waiting out in the hall? Sam Kerr is top 50 in the world, and by far top 3 women. She played for the Chicago Red Stars, yes. She is just, it's one of those things where I don't know much about soccer, but when you watch her play, it's like, wow, that is another world. She's just head and shoulders above everyone else on the field. She will remain a national hero for the rest of her life, I would imagine. We're very proud of our Sam. Goldstone cringed, but went to open the door. He was gone for several minutes. Apparently the person behind the door had something to tell the professor. Finally, the professor returned to the classroom, and he wasn't alone. A young man who I've never seen before entered the classroom with Goldstone. I wonder why this elf is here. Is this a new magic teacher or something? Class, a moment of your attention, please. I've just been told terrible news. One of our students, Miss Lauren Greenhill, has gotten into an accident. What? Something happened to Lauren? Oh God, my heart started beating like crazy. Due to this incident, I am compelled to introduce you Detective Maximilian Blackwood, who is working on the case. Maximilian Blackwood? So this is the elf my uncle is working with on the murder investigation? So Lauren was right. He really is a dark elf. Good morning, students. When he started talking, I had absolutely no doubt. This was the exact voice that I heard that day in Uncle Asgold's study. Okay, we can skip through this. We know the deal. Okay. We don't need to ask anything about this. We know the deal. I don't think now is a good time to bug the detective with questions. Max is hot. Well, we have already gotten at least 2 endings for Maximilian, although there are more that we're going to have to collect. here we are. Isn't the place where you saw that suspicious man somewhere around here? Yep, let's skip on ahead. Alright, he wanted to know who we were. Don't ask anything. I better say I was alone. No need to get Robin involved in this shady matter. Yes, I was alone. That day I left the academy a bit later than usual, and when I came home it was already dark out. I wanted to take a walk in the garden, but then I saw Uncle's silhouette in the window and got scared that he might scold me for it. When I was just about to enter the house, I saw someone in those tall trees. But I think Uncle Ascol already told you everything. Alright, we have that figured out. I would also like to see the place where you found the quartz crystal. Yes, of course, I'll show you to it. And then I think this is where we figure out that they were watching our window. We learn about the what was it called? The Silent Sorrow? The dagger that's integral to all that's going on. We accept the security of 2 police officers. Skip on ahead. Nothing new. We now have a letter from ALEISTER. He wrote me only once before this, yesterday at the music lesson. ALEISTER wanted to meet, and I didn't come to see him. He was quite angry about that when I met him in the hall at the academy. I can't imagine what he wants with me now. I picked up the paper knife and carefully opened the letter. Be careful, Half-Blood. I'm worried about you. Write me if you feel like meeting. P.S. Don't tell anyone about this letter. ALEISTER is worried about me? Now that's something new. To say I was surprised would be putting it lightly. Is this another joke of his? The letter says I can meet him if I feel like it. It shouldn't be too hard to send him a letter. I'll just have to mention the Dark Rose Mansion, and any messenger will easily find it. But this is so unlike ALEISTER that I don't even know what to make of it. I reread the letter once more, and hid it in the end table. Well then, if ALEISTER is offering the opportunity to write him, if I feel the need, then I will use it one day, if I want to. This letter made me lose the last shreds of my desire to read books. Instead, for the first time ever, I felt like leaving the cozy semi-gloom of my bedroom and stepping out into the fresh air to bathe in the glaring sun and take in the fresh air. Yes, of course. There's a murderer on the loose. We don't have security yet, but let's go outside and wander around the garden where we saw the murderer. And that's what I did. It was calm and quiet in the garden. Skip on ahead. Wilhelm jumps over the fence, creeps us out, stares at us with cold, dead eyes. Though Lauren didn't seem too eager about me accompanying her, I think she wanted to drop by the library and other stuff. Alright, because we didn't stay to talk to ALEISTER. We offered to go with her, but she didn't want to. But that doesn't change anything. I could have insisted, especially because Lauren was really upset. Nothing would have happened if I just waited for her. Mia, it wouldn't have helped if you went with Lauren that day. Rather, it would have been a pleasant surprise for the killer. Anyway, skip on ahead. And that story with my mum and the medallion. Yes, this is new to this storyline. We've been learning more about our mother and the fact that our uncle seems to have a medallion of her. And that story with my mum and the medallion. Seems like he loved her. Bernard also said that the Silverlight brothers used to always compete, even over a woman. Will the similarity of my appearance play a bad trick to my mother's appearance? Play a bad trick on me? It must be hard for Uncle to constantly see someone who has so much resemblance to the woman he loved and lost to his brother. Maybe that's why he's so cold to me sometimes. I hope this isn't like a Wuthering Heights kind of thing. I was just about to pass on to my room when several people came out of Uncle's study. Mia, so there you are. I was just about to send Bernard to look for you. Sorry. Never mind. Please meet Officers Gray and Swenson. They are sent by Detective Blackwood for your protection.
Good evening, Miss Silverlight.
Hello. Yep. Police officers on duty outside. Then we get attacked. There's some fighting. Some terrible horror music that gets me copyright struck. There was some loud explosions that really hurt my ears. Can I ask for one more thing?
Of course. What did you want to ask?
The thing is, I have a serious conflict with a teacher. He said that he'll do everything to get me kicked out of the academy.
Is that so?
I'm really ashamed of that. I didn't want that to happen at all.
Does old man Silverlight know?
Not yet.
And what do you want me to do? Go to Lord Silverlight and tell him you're getting kicked out of the academy?
Oh God, not that.
Don't panic like that, it was only a joke. So you want me to talk to head teacher Brokencastle and talk him out of expelling you?
If you can, of course.
I can try, but I can't guarantee anything.
Thank you so much.
It's not an issue for me, so don't mention it.
Meow.
Thank you for that, Meow Bruxus. Well then, you're home. As the song goes, Heathcliff, Heathcliff, no one should terrify the neighborhood.
It's me, it's Kathy, I've come home. So go, let me in your window.
Hi, Super Doorman, how's your week going?
So soon?
Time always flies during conversations. Well then, I'll see you tonight. That's the cartoon, not Wuthering Heights.
Goodbye. It's so nice that I won't have to go to the academy, at least for a couple days. I'll be able to avoid the Dark Rose sisters, and that's just great. After all, the only thing that helped me withstand their bashing was Lauren's presence.
I mean, it's a bit much to call it, what they were doing to us a bashing after our friend Lauren literally got bashed. Good day, milady.
Good day, Bernard. Is something wrong?
You have a guest, milady. He's waiting for you in the parlor. Hey, Neat. How you doing? How's your week
Do you
going?
know who ate all the donuts?
You lurking? All right. Thanks for the lurk, Neat. And for the spanking Bruxus. Your week's been all right? Been reorganizing your office here? Now you got a bit more space? Looking at all the games on Steam you've not yet played? Fair enough. I can certainly understand that feeling. Oh dear, now I'm sneezing. I hope that's just dust. You have a guest, milady. He's waiting for you in the parlor.
A guest? But I wasn't expecting anyone. Who could have come to see me? Except maybe Robin. But Bernard wouldn't have let him in, even on the doorstep. Thank you, Bernard. I'll go to the parlor this instant. Where is this guest? I hope it's not someone from the police again. I've already told Detective Blackwood everything I know anyway.
You're always running around somewhere. I've been waiting for you for over an hour here.
ALEISTER?
Don't scream like that or the servers will think I came to kill you. You did threaten to kill us one time and seemed to think there was some kind of fun banter.
Sorry. What are you doing here?
I'm actually your classmate. You missed classes, so I decided to bring you the homework.
Don't clown around. I was only gone for 2 days. Since when do you care so much about my education?
Hey, Sungats, how you been? How's your week going? How's your day going? I've heard that the murderer came for you tonight. Well, last night. Didn't come for me tonight. That's in the future still. So I wanted to make sure that you're okay. Or is that forbidden?
Alistair Darkrose in my home. This is just like some freaky dream. Well, if you weren't arrested by my security, then it's allowed. How did you get in, by the way?
I knocked on the door and I was let in. Is that what you wanted to hear? Been asleep mostly, doing good, eating some food. How about you? I am very hungry, but I am not eating some food. I am instead streaming.
Alistair, I'm serious. The house is guarded by the police, and I thought visitors weren't allowed.
Unless they're members of the Darkrose family.
Alright, let's suppose that's true.
Well, thank God that Alistair isn't the murderer. Because apparently he would just be allowed to walk in because he's part of some prestigious family.
Then how did you find out about what happened this night?
My father works at the ministry, remember? He's supervising that detective. What was his name? Black Moon? Blackstone?
Blackwood. Don't get distracted.
Blackwood, of course. So the policeman whom Blackwood sent to guard you informed my father about what happened here. Apparently, the detective was too lazy to tell him about it in person.
He just didn't have time for that. He's very busy with the investigation.
Oh, really? What else is he busy doing with you?
Alistair, what are you trying to imply?
Not at all. Was there something to imply?
No, nothing of that sort happened.
Nothing of what sort?
Oh God, are you trying to drive me crazy? What's with the interrogation?
Am I? How could you think that?
I'm only trying to keep the conversation. You're unbearable.
Thanks. I try.
Alistair, you didn't wait for me all this time for a squabble, did you? Be honest. What do you want?
Did you get my letter?
Does he mean the one Bernard gave me last night? Well, let's suppose I did. Now what?
Mia, why can't you believe that I am truly worried for your life?
Alistair called me by name? Not half-blood or peasant as usual? There must be a magnetic storm, no less.
Why aren't you saying anything? Coming here cost me a lot of effort. And you were out God knows where. I could barely wait for you.
Alistair. Don't scream like that, or the servants will think you came to kill me.
Damn.
I just can't believe. It's just that you were always so... You understand.
Mean? As well as arrogant and obnoxious?
Exactly. Now it's hard for me to imagine that everything has changed. I'm sorry.
To be honest, I never cared about you being a half-blood, unlike my sisters. I liked you right away, ever since the moment you first walked into class.
What?
Is there anyone in this game who isn't really ridiculously good looking? The ultimate negging? I'd say Wilhelm has creepy dead eyes, but of course he turns out to be the killer. And then he gets even uglier if we allow him to complete the ritual. Uncle Eskel also doesn't look particularly attractive. But he's supposed to be our guardian, so that makes sense. Other than that, no, pretty much everyone's attractive. Although, to be fair, most of them are elves, so that makes sense for them to be, like, super attractive. And really only, the only actual human we see is Robin, our childhood friend. But he is still, you know, attractive, I guess. At least acceptably attractive.
What? You threw a paper plane at me that time.
And I really wanted it to reach you.
You spilled ink on my textbook. You stole my etiquette notebook one. You threw a giant beetle on my desk. I can remember hundreds of times like that.
Well, how was I supposed to know you don't like bugs? I just wanted you to react somehow. You were always so distant and didn't pay attention to anyone. But everything I've done was showing my interest in you.
Gee, thanks. This is making my head spin.
Just keep in mind, if you need anything, I'll always be nearby.
Sounds like a threat.
It is. No, Alistair, that's not flirting. Implying that you're threatening them. Just like how threatening to kill them is also not flirting. You're really terrible at this, Alistair. Now that you're alive, well, and not panicking, I can go home. Will you see me out?
Are you afraid you'll get lost?
Wait, it's not? Yes, I'm afraid to inform you, Soupy Doorman. Threats are not flirting. It explains so much? Yes. Maybe.
All right, let's go. Well, this is it. Now you'll definitely find the way.
Driving me away again.
Mia? Oh God, what's Robin doing here? I see you have guests over today. Hi, Robin. This is Alistair, my classmate. He brought me homework. Alistair, this is Robin. He's...
Hey, Mr. Eyebrows. You must be the local gardener? You look like you're used to digging dirt.
Alistair, don't do that. Oh, why did these two come to me now? I really wouldn't want them to meet. No, Alistair. Robin is my childhood friend. He comes to visit me sometimes.
How sweet. What did you say your name was? Reuben? What a stupid name.
My name is Robin. It's amazing you couldn't hear my name with those huge ears of yours. Oh, Robin, don't do this. Just don't make Alistair mad, please. How am I supposed to get out of this situation? I believe you were about to leave, classmate?
I changed my mind. It's fun here.
Alistair, didn't you want to go home as soon as possible?
Did I? I don't remember that.
Apparently the lady wants you out of here, Dumbo.
It's not up to you to decide what the lady wants.
Calm down, please.
And in any case, you're being too cheeky for a peasant.
I see good manners aren't taught to aristocrats much either.
Is it just me, or is this childhood friend aspiring for more than just friendship?
Oh, crap. And what if I am?
Do you have something to say to me, Dumbo? Stupid creature. You won't get anywhere with her. Deal with it, loser.
We'll see who's the loser. Oh no, they made each other so mad that they're ready to fight. I should stop them this instant before something terrible happened.
Tell me, is your blood really blue? I wouldn't mind checking if you're not so chicken.
What? Robin is threatening Alistair? This is so unlike Robin. He's so kind, tender. But yeah, Alistair can make even a saint lose his temper.
If anything, I'll knock your chicken brain out.
Stop this immediately! How dare you act this way here? Yes, act this way somewhere else. That's much more acceptable. If you want to fight, then go someplace else, but leave me out of it. Robin, I just can't believe you fell for such an obvious provocation so easily. This is so unlike you. Alistair, of course, your behavior doesn't surprise me, but could you please explain why in the world did you start this?
I didn't do anything. It was your big brown friend who started it. I was just walking by.
Alistair, you have no shame at all. I saw that you were the one who provoked him.
Maybe. I don't seem to recall.
This idiot even dares to mock. Robin, settle down, please. Alistair always behaves this way. Try to ignore it.
All right, it's funny here, but it really is my time to go home. Goodbye, Mia. Bye, loser.
Go on, run while you still can.
Remember, you have no chances, peasant. Bye-bye.
Is that jerk really your classmate? Yes, he is, Robin. Calm down, I beg you. It's a good thing that ALEISTER finally left. I already thought this was leading to no good. He's so mischievous. And Robin, where did that appetite for fighting come from? I'll lose my mind if this keeps up.
Alright, let's skip through this. We don't care about Robin. Yeah?
I only came here to bring some news. I thought you'd find them interesting. News? What news? They're about your uncle. I was recently helping a local church priest sort out damp books from the church library to try and, well, we started talking, and I told about you and the Silverlight family. When the priest heard that last name, he remembered something unusual. And what was it? He remembered 2 elven brothers being madly in love with one student of the parochial school where he was teaching at that time. Does he mean my mother? It came to them both offering her marriage when she graduated. The girl chose the elder brother, Edward. He was cheerful, extravagant, and adventure-prone, as in the total opposite of his younger brother. That one was always captivated with science and was awfully unsociable.
But wait, offered marriage? But our mother never got married. It was a complete surprise to us who our father was after he died, wasn't it? So what happened? What became of this offer of marriage?
He's not as unsociable as he may seem. Go on.
The problem was not only in the union of elf and human being, always frowned upon by society, but also in the older brother already having an elven fiancée.
And then what happened?
Their parents sent Edward Silverlight to study abroad when they managed to trick him into marrying the woman he was engaged to. How do you trick someone into marrying someone? I don't quite get it.
So that's what happened.
But that's not all.
At the time, your mother was already pregnant with you. Though that didn't stop Asgold Silverlight from disregarding his reputation and asking him to marry her again. But she refused because she loved another one. So that's what my uncle is like. He was even ready to raise another man's baby like his own for the love of a woman.
I can't imagine he would have been a good father, considering how shitty a father he's been to us so far.
Could this really be true? I doubt that the priest had any reason to lie to me. I think that's what really happened. You know, your uncle doesn't seem like such an undying, oh god. My mouth is all tense. Hang on, give me a second. Red leather, yellow leather. You know, your uncle doesn't seem like such an unfeeling Dryadust anymore. I think he's really not a bad elf. I have such good voice acting skills. Thank you, Augie. I'll take that as the compliment I assume it to be, and not as you being sarcastic. That's true. I've managed to see it for myself already. Thank you for telling me this story. I also saw the police by your house. Tell me, did something happen?
Okay, let's skip on ahead then. I think that's all good. It is! Ah, thank you. Thank you, Augie. Okay, now the detective is asking us, who can we turn to for safety in these days? Clearly our house is not safe. Although, God knows why, considering it was only due to our uncle intervening that we were able to, be protected from the murderer last time. But since we're going for ALEISTER, we are to pick ALEISTER on this list. Can you say the words I and you for a clean take? I, you. Would that this too solid flesh could melt Thor and resolve itself into a dew, or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon against self-slaughter. There's some Hamlet for you. Oh, I do. Okay. So you wanted me to say it more like, do. I do.
I want to invite here an elf who I study at the academy with. His name is ALEISTER Darkrose.
Wait, we're inviting him here? That's not useful at all. I thought we were going to hide in like a secret safe house. Yep, you got me good, Augie. But we're just inviting a teenage boy to stay in our house, and that will somehow make us more protected? The same place where we were already attacked once before? This sounds like a terrible idea. ALEISTER Darkrose? Doesn't he happen to be related to Lord Rufus Darkrose, the one who's supervising my department at the Ministry?
I think I've heard ALEISTER mention that that's his father. The detective seemed to get lost in thought for a moment, and then said, as if to himself,
Well then, I hope he won't turn out to be too much like his father.
I blankly stared at the detective. I was good at blank stares because my head was mostly empty.
The thing is that Rufus Darkrose has quite a complicated personality, and he's very difficult to work with.
The detective cringed like he was eating a lemon, and I quickly realized what he was talking about.
Unfortunately, I didn't take my medication till rather late last night, and I can feel my muscle control isn't quite as good as it normally is. And I've only just recently realized that also affects my ability to get my mouth around the words. You look away and sometimes wonder if I'm making up some of this dialogue. Well, if you were watching, you would see that, yes, sometimes I am.
So that's where ALEISTER and his sisters get their nastiness from. Oh well, all I can do is hope that Detective Blackwood and ALEISTER will get along.
If you're sure that ALEISTER Darkrose will be able to ensure your safety, then we should invite him here. I don't know why we'd be sure. He's not even a mage. He's just a teenage boy.
I'll write him a letter and send it with the messenger. I really hope that he won't refuse to come, since I'm still not entirely sure if I can rely on him.
Not being entirely sure if we can rely on him. Yep, definitely sounds like the guy we should be trusting our safety with. Then, I believe we must inform Lord Silverlight about this.
It's like a giant green snake that drools a lot.
Hello, my love. How did your stream go? I assume that you've finished your stream if you're here now? Or are you ignoring the stream to appear in my chat? Please, follow me to his study. Stream went good and stream is over now. Okay, good. That's good to hear. And how have you been today? I haven't seen much of you today, really. How's stream going for you? It is going wonderful. We are having just a grand old time trying to romance the jerk bad boy, I guess you would call it. The school bully, basically.
But where's Uncle?
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, what the fuck? What the hell? Uncle Ascol, what the fuck? What kind of entrance was that? Jesus Christ. Why the hell is that sound so loud? I'm turning the sound volume down as well. Good lord. Turn the music down. Turn the sound down. I have no idea why that was so loud. Has the volume mix of, like, reverted back to normal or something? He knows how to make an entrance. Oh, God. Just like kicks his own door down. Mia, Max, what are you two doing here? Never mind. That's not important. Take a look at this. I've analyzed the city map, trying to understand where this warlock could make an altar and hide the body he prepared for rebirth. And I think I found the places that are perfect for that. Okay, yep. Oh, wait, we can't skip? You see these red ink marks? These are large abandoned structures that are far from the public view. They have unique properties. All of them are located in areas of high concentration of negative energy. And your day was okay? You've just been sleeping and playing games for the most of it? Okay. I did think you were unusually quiet today, so I guess that's because you were sleeping. This is an old cemetery, demolished prison, and a psychiatric hospital which was closed down last year due to a fire. We haven't been to the psychiatric hospital yet, because we know that the actual event will be taking place in the prison. I'm sure that he chose one of these exact places because he'll be needing extra energy. But why does he need extra energy? Wouldn't the power he'll get from the ritual dagger be enough? Or does the necromancer plan to use it for restraining the silent sorrow? Exactly. If the necromancer becomes too weak during the ritual, the silent sorrow will kill him. So, if he'll be running out of strength, he'll be able to draw some energy from the environment. I could send police squads to each of these places. But what if they run into the warlock? I don't think the policemen will make it out alive. I can't put my people at risk like that. This is exactly why we need to figure out the location of the altar as soon as possible and go there ourselves. Yes, one warlock, one detective, and one teenage girl will be a much more formidable force than a squad of policemen. I think we can cross off the psychiatric hospital. Why is that? They started renovating it a couple of months ago. I heard that they plan to have it rebuilt by spring. So I doubt that the necromancer would use a place with workers. Great, one place less. But what about the other two? Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather. My mouth is still super tight. The cemetery and the prison are on the same shore, unlike the hospital. And they're both approximately the same distance away from the Silverlight Mansion. We could choose either direction. You mean... that we'll have to guess? I'm going alone and you're staying with Mia. Have you forgotten that the police is of no use when there's a real threat involved? I didn't get the chance to tell you. What? Is something wrong? Nothing special. Mia wants ALEISTER Darkrose to come here. Darkrose? This is really not the time. We may have the sight of the murderer. Like, we may have him cornered at this point. Focus on that. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Rufus's son? I'm afraid so, old man. Were there no other options? If ALEISTER Darkrose finds out the details of our case, so will Rufus, and then we'll have it in for us. After all, he was one of the people who axed my theory about the killer being a necromancer mage, rather than a pathetic wannabe. He wouldn't even listen to my conclusions about the powder contents and crystals. Instead, he just banned me from taking part in the investigation. And do you know how he motivated it? He said that I don't have a good enough understanding of this area. I understand that he made you very angry that time, but we don't have any other choice. We have plenty of other choices. This is just the whims of a teenage girl. We must set out now, and someone has to stay with Mia. Ma? Ma, there's something you should know. I think that's supposed to be Mia. For the whole ministry, and for Rufus Darkrose especially, the investigation is being carried out only by Detective Blackwood, and no one else. Even the fact that you, my niece, were attacked didn't officially give me the right to participate in the investigation. Well, I would think not. If anything, it would preclude you from any kind of investigation, because you'd have... having a personal connection typically is a conflict of interest. Do you understand what this means? That I can't tell ALEISTER that you're working on finding the murderer too? Precisely, Mia. It will be better if he doesn't know anything about what the detective and I plan to do. Let him believe that you summoned him simply because you were afraid of being attacked again, but not a word about us going to search for the altar. Yes, I understand. I won't say a thing. Excellent. All right, Max, let's not waste any more time. To the coach! Okay, so we're not going to find the murderer. We don't get to have the showdown. So that means that Maximilian really is the true ending, then, if we don't even get the confrontation with the serial killer in this route. Uncle Asko grabbed the map off the table and quickly walked out of the study, followed by Detective Blackwood, who gave me a farewell smile. When they disappeared behind the door, I could still hear them arguing about where they should go first. I immediately returned to my room, wrote ALEISTER a letter, and asked Bernard to send it to the addressee. I'm not sure, but I thought I saw Bernard crack a satisfied smile when he noticed the address on the envelope. Is it possible that at least Bernard liked ALEISTER? He probably made a good impression on him when he turned up at my house. Well, ALEISTER is from a prestigious family, and Bernard seems to be, one who buys into the whole aristocracy thing, even if he is a human. Filthy, low-class human. All this seems so strange. Why am I doing this anyway? ALEISTER has a very complicated personality. And every time I speak to him, I'm afraid I'll seem stupid, seeing that he's always trying to embarrass me. But there's no denying it. He does have a special charm to him. Some sort of charisma that makes me think about him over and over. Talking to him scares. Talking to him scares? Talking to him scares and makes me want more at the same time. I feel like there's some words missing from that sentence. Talking to him scares me, but makes me want him more at the same time. I thought about the time when he invited me to meet in the academy garden after class. That's supposed to have a T on the end. We're getting lots of typos in this route. I didn't feel like going because I didn't think that any good could come of it. Boy, ALEISTER was annoyed. But I don't think he's angry at me at all for making him wait and not coming that time. However, I never expected ALEISTER to come to my house and tell me about having feelings for me. Let's do a quick save here. Save there. No, actually, let's not save there. Let's save there. Always gotta wait for that second knock. A sudden knock on the door distracted me from my walk down memory lane. Is that ALEISTER? So soon? Come in. You have a visitor, milady. It's Lord ALEISTER Darkrose. He's waiting for you in the sitting room.
Very well, I'll be down in a moment. Despite being ready for this, my heart started beating faster anyway. I didn't know what to expect from ALEISTER, but I really wanted to see him.
Is it just me, or does the half-blood need the help of almighty me?
You came so soon. I can imagine the way you rushed to my rescue as soon as you read the letter.
Don't flatter yourself, foolish creature. I was simply in the neighborhood. That's why I came so soon. How did the messenger find you then? I would have thought the messenger would have gone to your house, not somehow found you personally.
In the neighborhood? Just like when you ran into Robin?
Oh, don't even remind me of your browy friend. In any case, he turned out to be a loser since I'm the one here, and not him. But that doesn't surprise me at all. No one can withstand competing with me.
Alistair, your cockiness is off the charts.
Ha! If you didn't like that, then I wouldn't be here, am I right?
I had nothing to say to that, so all I could do was smile.
So, you've decided to summon me because of that attack? Am I like a bodyguard now?
I had to tell Alistair some details, carefully trying to avoid any mention of my uncle and his part in the investigation. The story turned out to be a bit illogical at times on the whole, but it was believable.
So you want to say that this criminal can return?
I really hope that won't happen.
You know, my father thinks that this killer is trying to pretend he's a mage. That's why he's using that magic gawgaw. Magic gawgaw? And that his real aim is to rid the city of half-bloods. Father believes it may be one of the pure-blooded elves. But I've heard that there's a different theory as well.
Could he know about Uncle Askeld's theory?
It's a theory about the killer really being a mage, who somehow knows to mask magic emissions let out during ritual murders. How can anyone believe in such nonsense?
Alistair fixed his eyes on me. What's he waiting for? Does he expect me to start defending Uncle's opinion? Or to agree with his father? No way. I better not argue with him, especially since there's a risk of spilling the beans. Oh, I'm merely a foolish peasant. How dare I discourse upon such matters? No match for the noble Lord Darkrose. You definitely know the truth about everything.
Oh, you're flattering me. I'm not as smart as I may seem at first. Very well then, since you're in my hands now, I want to show you one special place. Get ready.
There was no need to talk me into it, especially since I was already prepared. To my surprise, Alistair took me to a very beautiful park. It was calm and quiet there. And what's important, no humans or elves. We know that the murderer is a powerful mage. Why the heck are we relying on one teenage boy who appears to not have any magical powers to defend us? And now we're just wandering about in public.
What do you think?
Oh, it's so beautiful here.
That's no surprise. My family owns this park.
Is it always so quiet here?
Well, usually there's no one here, besides me and my sisters. Our father doesn't like guests. As well as walking, celebrations, noise, and meaningless conversations.
What is he like then?
If such a thing does exist, it is unknown to me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It has nothing to do with you. You don't have to apologize.
Could the great and dreadful Alistair Darkrose be lonely? Who could have thought? So your sisters can be somewhere around here too?
Maybe they're here, maybe they're not. I'm not their shepherd to be keeping track of where they go.
But I thought that twins can sense each other at a distance.
Well, they're triplets. They're not twins. What about reaching each other's minds? Absurd. Let alone, we're not twins, we're triplets. Exactly, Alistair.
Alistair, could you tell me why we came to this exact place?
When I was younger, I used to hide here when someone was looking for me. I wasn't too communicative, you know? Learning to communicate with other children and adults is hard when you spend all your time with sisters and don't see anyone else. Now someone is looking for you. Trust me, this is an excellent place to hide. Even time flows somehow differently here.
Thank you for showing me this place.
Just don't think I did this for you. It's just that I haven't been here in a while, so I decided to take you along since you've imposed.
Oh, you just wanted to get some alone time with me.
Maybe. So what about that killer? You didn't really think I believed the nonsense you told me, did you?
Was it really that obvious? Apparently the detective was right when he said that my face always gives me away. Trust me, if I told you the whole truth, I'd have to kill you.
Again, Mia. Threatening to kill people. Not flirting. You don't have the guts to kill someone. So what about the killer? I'll never believe that your uncle suddenly decided to obey my father and stop investigating. He's as stubborn as a mule. He literally makes my father crazy.
Alistair, the thing is, Uncle is forbidden to tell anyone about the necromancer.
So it's true. Lord Silverlight really believes that the murderer is a warlock?
Oh no, I gave it all away after all. Well, since I've already screwed everything up, I might as well relax. You don't have to believe me, but Uncle's right. I saw the killer myself. He is most definitely a warlock. There's no mistaking there.
Oh yeah, I forgot that we were attacked personally. You think that the testimony of a half-blood who's been attacked and our uncle would be enough to make the police change their theory, at least somewhat. So what does he want from you?
As far as I understand, he's ill and going to die soon. Uncle said that the warlock wants to gather a specific amount of half-blood souls so he can migrate into a new body and become immortal. He nearly killed Lauren and me, so now he needs one last soul to carry out the ritual. Plus, he has a special dagger that turns souls into energy.
Do you realize how ridiculous that sounds?
You don't have to believe me. The choice is yours.
Oh my god! Oh my god. Oh. Wilhelm, is that you? The way he's also like appears with like "roo," such a weird, stupid pose. Also, like he appears to be a giant compared to the bridge. So I guess we are going to have a showdown with the murderer after all.
I wanted to say something snarky, but then I saw a dark silhouette appear on a distant bridge. Despite the fact that I wasn't able to see his face from that far, I could clearly tell that I knew that elf.
Oh, and here comes the horror music that gets muted on YouTube. Not muted, gets copyrighted.
Alistair, we're not alone.
Alistair, fooled my... wrong voice.
Alistair followed my gaze and saw the silhouette too.
Is that him?
Yeah. But then, the warlock disappeared as suddenly as he had appeared. I started looking around, trying to see where he went, but I didn't see anyone.
Don't panic. I'm with you.
Mia, what a pleasant surprise. It's a wonderful day, isn't it? Wilhelm, what are you doing here? Why are you dressed like that?
I think you already know the answers to these questions.
So it really was you.
Me?
You tried to kill Lauren. How could you? Perhaps you didn't know this, but she happens to love you.
Didn't know? You think I'm an idiot? Lauren hinted at her feelings in every possible way. Even if I was deaf and dumb, I still couldn't have ignored that.
And you, knowing that, still tried to take her soul?
Trust me, I didn't get any pleasure out of it, but my life is at stake, so I had to do it.
Thank you for the follow, show.
how are you doing today? Wonderful to see you over here.
You're dying? Is that true?
You're concerned with my health? How sweet. I found out I was ill about 2 years ago. At that same time, I found out that there's no cure for my illness. You doing good? How's the game going? Game's going great. We just had a good laugh at Wilhelm here showing up in the middle of this bridge. And we're about to get a bad ending, I believe. So that'll be exciting. I had a choice. I could either patiently wait for death or fight it. I choose the latter. Lucky for me, despite studying to become an elemental mage, I turned out to be talented in many other areas as well, including necromancy, the knack for which I've been carefully hiding almost since childhood. But now I don't care about laws and prohibitions. My life is at stake. There's either death or immortality ahead for me. How's your week been going, Char?
But you took the lives of so many half-elves for that.
The world didn't get any worse without them. Trust me.
Are you that cynical?
What is ALEISTER doing, by the way? Like, is ALEISTER stood beside us? Has he wandered off? Wilhelm appeared, and we've lost all track of ALEISTER. When you're 1 foot in the grave, your attitude to life and death changes dramatically. You wouldn't understand.
Wilhelm clapped hold of my arm. I tried to break free, but he was holding on too tight.
Enough talk. Come with me.
Now that's when I began to feel panic building up in me.
What a cute conversation. Perhaps I should have a part in it too? I don't need your life. You can stay alive if you run fast enough. Oh, I've always had problems with running. I don't even know what to do now.
Now you'll have problems because of your big mouth, Dark Rose.
You know my last name? I must be a celebrity since even maniacs know me.
Gosh, ALEISTER, what are you doing? He seems to be provoking Wilhelm on purpose, but why?
You're getting on my nerves, loser. Get out of here this instant. You don't look so good, buddy. Pal? Are you sick or something? You bastard.
Wilhelm got so angry that he let go of my hand. That seemed to be exactly what ALEISTER wanted. But now he's definitely in trouble.
Whoa. Non-stop action.
ALEISTER carefully dodged Wilhelm's magic strike and jumped to me.
Don't just stand there. Give me your hand.
ALEISTER grabbed me by the sleeve and literally started dragging me away from Wilhelm. Wilhelm was so angry, he kept throwing magic all over the place like crazy.
Whoa, so exciting.
You insignificant beings! I won't let you ruin my plans! Suddenly, Wilhelm dramatically bent over and started coughing.
Ooh, we got some art. This background music and noise. This background music is, I believe it's called horror music. I forget who by, but I know it because it gets registered every time I upload these VODs to YouTube.
It looked like he was losing strength.
What? Not now.
Wilhelm coughed, gasping for air, and his breathing was heavy. He really didn't look too well.
Why now? I almost had everything ready.
In a moment, Wilhelm came to the floor crashing.
Wow. Is this really how the dramatic conclusion happens? It's probably Creative Commons that some scummy company is claiming to own? Yeah, and I suppose, no, I don't know where I was going with that thought. But is really the dramatic ending to this going to be the serial killer just happens to die of, like, his illness before anything happens?
carefully walked up to him. The silent sorrow in his fist pulsated as if it were a living creature. Forgetting all caution, I bent down to Wilhelm to check if his heart was still beating. Wow, Mia, you really are something else when it comes to intelligence. Just run away. The serial killer has collapsed. Send the police. You, yourself, the half-elf that he wants to kill, does not have to check his pulse. In that moment, he used his last strength to grab my arm and aim the dagger at me. Well, Mia, you really have no one to blame but yourself. I couldn't help but scream. But then ALEISTER came to my rescue. He tore the silent sorrow out of Wilhelm's hand and threw it in the river. Mia has no survival skills. Yes, exactly. Wilhelm followed the dagger with his blurring eyes and froze forever. I don't know if it was the illness that killed him or the silent sorrow, but Wilhelm Greenhill was definitely dead. Now that nothing was threatening me, I suddenly felt the whole weight of the tension I was in the last few days. My legs suddenly failed me, and I sank straight into the thick grass, crying. ALEISTER instantly appeared next to me and carefully helped me to get up. Feeling his warmth not only soothed me, but even put a smile on my face. Oh God, I can't believe that ALEISTER Darkrose saved my life. I stared into his eyes, and everything that had just happened seemed like some freakish dream. We actually look pretty cute in this picture. Not ALEISTER, but our character does. Although we do have a bizarre lens flare going on, which just seems to happen in any art that they do. They always have to add a lens flare for no real reason. ALEISTER was silent, but I could tell by his face that he didn't at all mind some half-blood snuggling up to his shoulder. ALEISTER? Foolish creature. How did you live all this time without me? You're always getting into trouble. He gave me a devious smile, and I giggled. ALEISTER is unbearable, but that's exactly what I liked about him. A month later. Let's do another quick save. That's a good question, though. How did she survive without him? Yes, very good question. Over a month's passed from that horrible incident in the park, when ALEISTER miraculously, I know how to say the word miraculously, but there's something about having to say ALEISTER in front of it that makes it really hard. In the park, when ALEISTER miraculously saved my life. Who was talking about that? It was Shiny Brie. What was Shiny Brie saying about dry noodles? Lauren was discharged from the hospital, but she is still very depressed. Seeing her in this condition pains me. Seems that despite Wilhelm turning out to be the murderer and trying to kill her, she still misses him. Someone else enjoy dry noodles? Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty common meal, I think, especially amongst the college-aged. I don't understand. After all, he showed that he was a real monster. Moreover, Lauren is mourning him. I tried talking to her about this situation, but when I did, she shrunk into herself and didn't react to my questions. I hope that this will pass with time. I'm very worried about her, and can't help feeling partially responsible for what had happened to her. Big changes came to my life as well. Of course, the first and foremost is that ALEISTER and I are a couple now. I'm really finding it hard to believe. I used to sincerely think that he hated me. Actually, let's make another save as well. Could I have imagined everything turning out this way? However, ALEISTER's sisters still can't come to terms with their brother's choice. ALEISTER's father, Rufus Darkrose, wasn't too crazy about me either. He has his own old bone to pick with my uncle, so he was very displeased at first. But with time, Mr. Darkrose has apparently decided that becoming relatives with such a noble kin as the Silverlights wouldn't be so bad, and now he's much more comfortable with me. Robin hasn't visited me in a while now. He didn't take me being with ALEISTER lightly. I hope that one day he will make peace with my choice. I really wouldn't want to lose such a good friend. What's more, Uncle soundproofed his study. Of course, I do realize he did that because I'd eavesdropped on his conversation with the detective. But I did tell him it wouldn't happen again. But I suppose the most surprising thing about this story isn't even me dating ALEISTER, but Uncle adopting me. Adopting me? That's... seems unnecessary considering he's already our garden. Garden? Our guardian. See, my mouth is really, out of sorts today. After I found a medallion with Mum's portrait in Uncle's study, I couldn't get it out of my head. From what Robin has told me, I understood that both Father and Uncle were equally in love with my mother. That thought kept bothering me, so I decided to just go and talk to Uncle about it. Naturally, I was afraid that Uncle would get angry and kick me out of his study. But he seemed to even be happy to talk about it. He told me a lot about my mother and father, and then he said he would like me to be his daughter.
Well, that would have been a nice scene to see, I guess. But I guess we can hear about it after the fact.
That was very unexpected, but it turned out that Uncle had been thinking about adopting me for a while. So now I have a father.
Hey, Devilbird.
And I really am happy about that. What really cast a shadow on my life was the behavior of Louise and Rosemarie. ALEISTER told me a lot about them.
It's half past morning. Half past, midday, rather.
ALEISTER told me about them being the only people he talks to, and that they're not only his sisters, but his best friends as well. In the Darkrose family, it wasn't customary to pay much attention to children, so ALEISTER and his sisters have never really known motherly, not to mention fatherly love. So, basically, those three substitute the whole world to each other.
Substitute? I think you mean constitute.
So basically, those three constitute the whole world to each other. Well, except for me invading that cramped little world, with which ALEISTER's sisters can't agree even for him. Another thing that surprised me was that amongst themselves, they also communicate by using the same teasing and strange jokes, which apparently give them pleasure.
Gross.
And now I have another date with ALEISTER, and I suspect that his sisters are waiting for me close by again. They've done that before. They made fun of my dress and my hair, said that I'm not good enough for their brother, and stuff like that. That was actually quite hurtful. I do my best to ignore them, but they still keep trying to throw me off balance. Maybe I should try setting my foot down, as in, pay sarcasm for sarcasm. Or should I ask ALEISTER to get them to leave me alone? I don't know.
And according to the guide, we are supposed to complain to ALEISTER about his sisters.
Yeah, I suppose I'll tell him that his sisters are completely unbearable. Maybe he'll do something about it. But let's save that for later. Now I have to hurry to a date with ALEISTER. He's waiting for me by the giant oak not far from the academy. Oh well, I must hurry.
All right, we're supposed to switch to the romantic point of view. Are we going for a specific ending? Yes, we got our first ending a while back, which was we ended up with Maximilian, and we had a good ending, but not a perfect ending. And now we're going through trying to collect all the other endings. So now we're doing ALEISTER, who is the school bully, basically. Like, he's a real jerk to us. Like a racist jerk to us. And, like, never in a million years would I want to actively court this person. But they're first on the guide, so now we're going through and trying to get all his endings. Mia is keeping me waiting again. Is it really that hard for her to simply come on time? Why did, of all girls, I start liking her? Huh, half-blood. There's something in her. Something special. Matter of fact, she showed that she was quite brave when she openly told that arrogant-ass Goldstone everything she thought about him. Too bad she didn't have enough fire to stand up for her opinion. I'd like to have some music playing rather than just these birds chirping. Hope that one day she will become capable of standing up for herself. Anyone can smear tears all over their face. She must learn to be strong. Well, it's more for the story. I wouldn't be bothering... I'm not doing it for, like, the achievements or anything. I just want to see what the other bits of story we missed out on. Like, we missed out on all of this stuff about our mother and our... Like, our uncle didn't adopt us in Maximilian's route. We didn't learn anything about our mother. And, like, what it was like with our father and our uncle. Why isn't she here yet? What could be more important for her than a date with me? This is making me irritated. I don't like it when people are late. Suddenly, I noticed movement in the depth of the park. Upon a closer look, I saw that it was Mia, accompanied by my sisters. Huh, they've intercepted her once again, those unbearable girls. When will they get tired of playing spies who are tracking an When will they get tired of playing spies who are tracking an international criminal? What a weird thing to say. This one seems to have a lot more alternate endings compared to the last one. Yeah. Trying to think, like, the last one, the romance is almost, we're talking about Campus Notes Never Give Up. That one seemed to almost, the romance seemed to be almost secondary. Like, it was just like a few extra scenes and a couple of extra pictures at the end, depending on who we ended up romancing. The focus was much more on the actual storyline, which was confusing and pointless to begin with, but that's neither here nor there. And in fact, the most of it was like the non-endings, like the romance routes that were like, didn't solve anything in the story. And then, of course, one of the endings in Campus Notes literally just began the game all over again. As a matter of fact, I find it funny that Rosie and Lulu are behaving this way. I would even say that it was sweet, but Mia, on the other hand, doesn't seem to be able to appreciate their care for my honor. What was causing the time shift in Campus Notes? It was all a simulation. It was a simulation simulating how they created how to predict the future, I think was how it was supposed to go. I don't know. It was... yeah. Oh well, I guess I'll have to watch this show yet again when there's no getting around it. Why are we going to our date while wearing our school uniform? That just occurred to me. Judging by Mia's expression, she wasn't too happy about running into my sisters. And she's in tears again. Oh God, how could she keep blowing every tiny thing so out of proportion?
ALEISTER, what a pleasant surprise.
We were just accompanying your princess because, you know, there are dangerous times we're living in.
We wouldn't want anything to happen to our little mouse. You never know, she might get lost.
Your unbelievable kindness and care know no limits. I would prostrate myself in gratitude, but the suit is too nice. I wouldn't want to get it dirty. You don't have to. However, our little Mia can do that easily.
But...
She's mumbling something again. Why can't she stand up for herself and say something loud and clear to Rosie and Lulu's insults? Her eyes are darting again. I bet she's trying to either find a place to hide or to make up an excuse for leaving as soon as possible. And this isn't the first time. It was funny seeing her hiding from my sisters in the bushes. So stupid. I believe a simple thank you will be enough, Rosie. Oh, if you say so, brother.
I think we've already spent too much of our precious time on this.
Louise.
Come along, Rosie. Let's leave
Al to his lady love. Bye-bye. Have fun.
They caught me by the park's entrance. I just didn't know what to say.
Damn it, Mia, you can't always keep mumbling to yourself. My sisters may not be saints, but I admire the strength of character in each of them. God, what a dick. What an absolute asshole. Rosie and Lulu will always behave with dignity, no matter what. That was behaving with dignity, was it, Alistair? They are strong, and I don't remember a single time when they couldn't stand up for themselves.
But could you talk to them so they wouldn't bug me every time we meet? It's unbearable.
Quarreling with sisters is against my rule. Out of my whole family, they're the only people I speak to, and I would like our relationship to remain as it is. Ugh. Picking your sisters over your... Yeah, I don't like the implications of that. If you can't bear their teasing, then fight back. Stop acting like a milk and water girl. Not sure what a milk and water girl is, but you're acting like one. Mia, you have to understand that you must learn to be strong. You can't keep hiding behind other people. You are, after all, an individual. Be proud. Looks like Mia has much more to learn.
Your sisters were putting me down again. No matter what I do, they keep picking on me with criticism, reprimands, and insults. If I'm wearing a new dress, then Rosemarie will definitely say something about it.
Rosie has impeccable taste in clothes.
And Louise, no matter what I say or do, she always sticks my nose in my barbarian manners and behavior, no matter how hard I try.
Lulu has perfect manners.
Yeah, your sisters are good and strong, while I'm bad and weak. But maybe...
No maybes. Mia, enough. This whole time, all you've been doing is keeping quiet in the presence of my sisters and complaining to me about them when we were absolutely alone. I've never seen you at least try to somehow change the situation. You always try to avoid problems, hoping that everything will be decided and done instead of you.
That's not true. I'm not running away. I just don't like it when everyone's pressuring me.
Mia Silverlight, I am incredibly disappointed. The whole time we've been together, I was waiting for you to at least try to become strong and fight back my sisters. But, as I see it, all my waiting was for nothing. Well now, it's getting late. Your uncle will be quite displeased if we return later than the set time. So let's hurry. Wow, what a date. I accompanied Mia home like a true gentleman. We exchanged icy farewells, and she left. I could see that she was very upset. The only thing I felt was disappointment. Mia seemed interesting to me. I thought that there was a strong personality under her nervous Nelly. Under her nervous Nelly? Okay. But I was wrong. I spent a lot of time on her. And it was all for nothing. Alistair's an elf. Mia is a half-elf. That sudden gleam when she bravely stood up to Goldstone was nothing more than mere happenstance. I felt quite down, but I was trying to look fresh and indifferent. I am, after all, Alistair Darkrose. What I feel inside doesn't matter. What's important is how I'm seen by the people around me. I know that this was my last date with Mia. Let everyone think that this was just a game for me. The rich noble elf wanted to play love with the half-blood. Yeah, let everyone think just that. Bad ending. We're too different. Yay, that's our first Alistair ending. And we'll skip this. Now the music's too quiet. Can't... Let's bring that up a bit. Yeah, there's okay. Okay, now let's load this one, I think. Skip on ahead. Now let's try talking back to the sisters.
Complaining in a situation like this clearly isn't the best thing to do. Rosemarie and Louise are too dear to Alistair. I'll try speaking to them in their language. But let's save that for later. Now I have to hurry to a date with Alistair. He's waiting for me by the giant oak not far from the academy. Oh well, I must hurry.
And skip on ahead. Lulu, Rosie, what a surprising coincidence that you're here as well.
Alistair, what a pleasant surprise.
We were just accompanying your princess.
Will?
Because, you know, these are dangerous times we are living in. Thank you for that, Uwu bot. We wouldn't want anything to happen to our little mouse. You never know. She might get lost. Your unbelievable kindness and care know no limits. I would prostrate myself in gratitude. The suit is too nice. I wouldn't want to get it dirty. You don't have to. However, our little Mia can do that easily.
Oh, how nice of you. I really did look like a real queen being accompanied by her ladies-in-waiting. We should make this tradition permanent.
How dare you? Ha ha! Stop laughing, Al. How dare you act this way, you deficient personality? Did you forget who you're talking to?
You're not ones to be easily forgotten. You flash before my eyes so often that I'm starting to get the feeling that I'm the one who's your triplet.
You wish, Silverlight. Thank God that someone like you isn't our sister.
That's what I think, thank God. I mean, since I'm not your sister, I can easily count on something more than just a brother.
Damn, I can barely keep myself from laughing. I don't fully understand anything that they're saying. Looks like Mia's managed to embarrass Rosie and Lulu. Has she? Don't even think about it.
I'm not going to take this any longer. Come along, Rosemary. It'll be better for us to avoid being seen with such a persona. Of course, go on. We wouldn't dare take up your time. Well, unless you want to stay and maybe see something extremely interesting.
No way! The squabbles are as entertaining as usual. I used to think that no one would compete with my sisters when it came to verbal jousting, but Mia's transfer to the academy turned out to be a gift of fate. So what was to be that extremely interesting thing you wanted to show them?
Oh, who knows? There's always something interesting happening around me. Maniacs, killers. Stick with me, and your life will become full of adventure.
Sounds tempting. But in that case, in order to not miss any fun, you'll have to be with me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Seeing that you end up in the thick of things as soon as I turn my back on you. Verbal jousting? Yeah, that's what that was. She bravely looks forward with a smile and isn't afraid of problems. That's what I like about her so much. I'm glad that she isn't frightened by such relations with my sisters. Alistair's opinion of us really changes on a dime, depending on the one decision we make of whether to talk back to his sisters or not.
Meow.
Thank you for that, Meow Augie.
Give me that milk.
We got the long one, did we? Clearly, Mia isn't perfect, but I really like her. I suppose I'll just have to live with some of her shortcomings. All right, we didn't come here to talk about my sisters. I can give you something better to talk about.
Meow.
What did you have in mind?
Soon we'll be graduating from the academy. We'll have to choose what to do next.
What are you driving at?
My father, aware of my magnificent talents, has offered me to study at Wasserman University.
But that's so far. Though you do deserve the very best educational institution.
Of course I deserve the very best. Judging by Mia's face, I knew that she was upset, though she did approve of my father's choice. It's quite sweet that she wishes the best for me, even if it will hurt her. But, you know what? I decided to say no.
What? But why?
I'd rather find something closer. Just don't think it has something to do with you, half-blood. Yeah, you stupid baka. It's not like I like you or anything. I just don't want to part with my dearly beloved sisters for so long.
Oh, really? Why am I having such a hard time believing that? Could it have something to do with the great and terrifying ALEISTER Darkrose, being afraid to miss not only his sisters?
Perhaps. Mia's right. I would have missed her too much. This is a rather boring pose and picture that they've drawn here. Before she had time to react, I locked her in my arms and gave her a loud kiss on the cheek. Wow. That wasn't nearly as romantic as I was expecting. A loud kiss on the cheek. I hope no one saw that, because I always feel like an idiot in moments like this. Good ending. I'm staying with you. And that's all it took, was to get the good ending, was that one decision. Okay. But there is a perfect ending for ALEISTER, which I think we need to start again in the beginning. Why did I make that save before? I have no idea. I guess I was being... What is this save for? I guess that's where it diverges? Okay, let's... Thank you for the did it, Bruxus. So now we've got two endings. This should be the third and final ending for ALEISTER. Aha! It is where it diverges, I think. Now let me... No, it's not the perfect ending. Hang on. I think we're gonna have to start again. Whatever. Go away. I have a save point. No. Return. What is... Oh, that's back. How do I get to the menu? Oh, there we go. Main menu. Yes. Okay, new game. So, perfect ending for ALEISTER. Let's speedrun this. Speedrun! Skip on through. Don't need anything else. Skip on through. Stay where I am so we can confront the sisters. Skip on through. Don't say anything. Yeah, fuck Robin. We don't need to tell him anything. I wouldn't say so. Allons-y. Okay, but now we follow the stranger. Strange person lurking in our garden. Well, we know that there's a serial killer on the loose. Of course we'll follow them. My heart skipped a beat, but I still decided to catch the stranger and demand an explanation. After all, he did intrude on a private property. Spoken like a true rich person. I ran after him. Turning the house's corner led us both to an impasse. There were trees on both sides, and after them was a high stone fence. You shouldn't have done this. You still had a chance. The stranger spoke in a whisper. Well, you could have told me that before I did the voice. Afraid that someone else could come here. But what should I do? Should I run away? The strange man is clearly serious. Or should I risk it anyway? Leave or else. Okay. Better leave him alone. Call it cowardice, but I chose to hide in the mansion as soon as possible. When I was at the mansion's steps, I stopped to catch my breath. Everything was quiet, and there was no signs of the stranger following me. I wonder who that was. I quickly walked up the steps and hurried to my bedroom. Okay. In my room, I felt my fears wash away. Oh, I'm such a scaredy cat. Maybe that wasn't a murder at all. Why did I think that anyway? Perhaps it was a mere thief that wanted to steal something. Or it could have been the cook's lover. He came to see her, but ran into me. Okay, skip on ahead. Allons-y. Better leave him alone. Tell Lauren about Robin. No, don't say anything. Oh, this is right. Lauren's just asking if we have any boy toys. Okay, we've spoken to Goldstone, got in trouble. What are we supposed to do here? Okay, yeah, we're supposed to go talk to Goldstone, in which we do the bizarre tactic of telling the professor that we love him. I knew I'd find you here, Half-Blood. Oh no, not this. If ALEISTER is here, then his sisters are not too far away. Let's skip on ahead. Wait. Did I click on the wrong thing? Fuck. I think I might have clicked on the wrong thing. Fuck me. We'll pass. Save. Not bad.
Is it loose fish guts or is it in the bag?
Hi, Zane. Do you enjoy your custom command? And you can't stay? Well, that's fine. I appreciate you stopping by. You do have a custom entrance command, which I had forgotten completely that I'd done. Yeah, return to the main menu. New game. Okay. Let's focus on which choice we're making. Yes, lovely to see you here, Zane. Don't need anything from Lauren. Stay where I am. Don't say anything. Screw Robin. I wouldn't say so. Follow the stranger, but then leave him alone. Don't say anything. Okay, so we want to not make the professor angry and go see him, which means we are going to go tell the professor we love him, and that's why we were so disruptive in class, which is an absolutely bizarre tactic, but one that seems to work anyway. You watch the VOD? Okay, thanks for that, Zane. And yeah, like I said, lovely to see you. Indecent? How did I do that anyway? Usually I'm too scared to make a sound. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Looks like I definitely have to go talk to the professor. Having decided, I felt a bit calmer. Of course, all the trouble was still ahead, but at least I was past the pains of choosing. Yep, skip on ahead. Making the guy blush. Listen in on the conversation. Oh, okay, now we're telling Uncle Ascol after he catches us eavesdropping about the stranger in the garden and the fact that we tried to follow him, but then he threatened us. Okay, of course, because we haven't done this choice before. I think he was watching me, and then I noticed, when I noticed him, he preferred to flee. Maybe the developers are fans of the show Friends, because the student tells Russ that that to get out of trouble as well. I don't remember that episode. I thought I knew most of Friends, but yeah, that's quite conceivable. I do think that the developers are Russian, but I'm sure Friends is popular in Russia as well. Or maybe they made their own version, like they did with like Everybody Loves Raymond, where it's just Friends but in Russian. And when I noticed him, he preferred to flee. Then I tried to follow him, but he started threatening me, and I ran into the house. You did what? Tried to follow? Oh, gods. You should have told me about that incident as soon as it happened. Yeah, the fact that he, started threatening us really makes it seem dumb that we didn't mention this earlier. I didn't think it was that important. I mean, it could have been anyone. You are as reckless as she was. As Margaret. You don't value your life at all. Turns out you two are more alike than meets the eye. What? It seems that Uncle knew my mother quite well. I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking. No need to apologize, Mia. I should have taken more care of your safety. It's my fault. What? Now this is too much. Uncle not only didn't scold me for my foolishness, but even blames himself for not providing me with the necessary level of security. Apparently he really isn't as cold and indifferent as he seemed to me. I guess the consensus is that Mia is quite dumb in general. Pretty much. No, it's my fault. Leave it at that. I will notify Detective Blackwood of your words this instant. I believe he will find this information useful. I hope that Detective Blackwood's complete lack of manners won't scare you. Everything's fine, really. No need to notify anyone. I only saw a silhouette. That's hardly enough for an investigation. That doesn't matter. I think the detective will find your story of interest in any case. So now I'll have to undergo some sort of interrogation? But I don't know anything at all. All right now, time for me to get to work. Okay, and then we go to school, go to class. And then ALEISTER sends us a note telling us to meet him out by the old oak after school. Now, in the previous two endings, we didn't go to him for that first meeting. But, according to the guide, we should go this time. I wonder what he wants to talk about. I think I should go. Let's do a quick save. Right here. Just in case I miss up one of these choices again. I decided that I should go and at least hear what he has to say. When the lesson ended and the bell woke up a couple of students who fell asleep out of boredom, I took a breath of relief. Did you manage to take any notes today? If you want, you can copy mine. Yes, that would be useful, but not right now. I want to tell you something. Remember that maniac that everyone's talking about? Of course. Why? What happened? Did he kill someone else? Not exactly. Can you imagine? This morning, I found out that my uncle is helping the detective who's working on that case. Blah, 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 blah. Consultants. Yep, let's just get to the meeting at the thing. We already know about Detective Blackwood being a dark elf. Maximilian Blackwood. Yep, we know. I don't want to skip because it'll skip right through the meeting because we've already done it once before in our very first playthrough. After class, Lauren and I went to the garden to chat. I probably should have offered to walk her home, since Wilhelm isn't coming today. This is the afternoon where Lauren will get attacked. But the thing is, I have to meet with ALEISTER now. He asked me to meet him not far from here, next to the Great Oak. It's a shame that Cousin Willie won't pick me up today. I think that's supposed to be cousin, but I do like the idea of him being called Cousin Willie. Cousin Willie? I've gotten so used to him being around. You know, it's so hurtful that he always calls me cousin. You just called him cousin, or at least I assume you did. Of course, that's true, but I really do like him. He's so upbeat and gallant. He has a bunch of stories that he's so good at telling. Maybe he likes someone else. What do you think, Mia? I don't even know. After all, he is your cousin. Maybe it doesn't even occur to him that you like him. Well, it's not like I can just tell him. And he's not good at taking hints and stuff. Poor Lauren. Looks like she really does like Wilhelm. But I don't think he has a crush on some other girl. He seems to more have a crush on himself. I would really like to help you somehow, but I have absolutely no experience in communicating with boys. So I can't give you any advice. Sorry. Forget it. I've burdened you enough with my drama. I'm very sorry. But there's still plenty of guys out there. Just look around. You don't understand. I don't need other guys. There's no one other like Wilhelm anyway. There's no other one like Wilhelm anyway. Or perhaps there's someone better than him. I'm sure that plenty of guys like you, considering how cute and attractive you are. I'd rather have him like me. It doesn't seem like I'm much of a good friend, but can't even ease Lauren's mind. I felt ashamed of myself, seeing that Lauren always found the right words when I was in need of support. Really, Lauren seems like a pretty shitty friend, honestly, from what we've seen of her in this game. Alright, don't worry about it. I need to toughen up. It's time to go home. Are you alright? Yes, don't worry about it. You want to walk home together?
I would love to, but I still have some things to do at the academy.
Things? What things?
I need to go to the library and turn in the books I took last week. Sorry. Oh, I see. Well, then I'm going home. See you tomorrow.
Now that's interesting. That we say that we need to turn in some libraries. Turn in some books to the library. But if we aren't meeting ALEISTER, that's what Lauren says. So in this version of events, she doesn't have books to take to the library, or is she lying in that situation? Curious.
Lauren headed toward the gate, looking unhappy. That was kind of awkward. Perhaps it would have been better if I told her the truth about why I want to stick around. I don't think she would like the idea of me meeting with ALEISTER. He is, after all, one of the Dark Rose triplets who always harass us. In quite a subdued mood, I started walking down the path to the oak, the leafage of which could be seen even from here. When I reached the spot, I saw that ALEISTER isn't here. Could he have tricked me? As soon as I thought that, ALEISTER Darkrose in the flesh walked out from behind the oak.
Well, it's about time you had the grace to come. Where in the world were you?
I had to say goodbye to Lauren. She's going to walk home alone today, and why am I making excuses? I'm not the person I was before, and ALEISTER doesn't scare me anymore. He's staring at me with such irritation. I think I should somehow respond to this attack. Why? Were you afraid you'd have to wait too long? And that your mommy will scold you for not coming home on time?
How dare you be so disrespectful, you damn half-blood.
So I'm right. ALEISTER Darkrose is afraid of his mama?
Hey, don't provoke me, you inferior creature.
He's so strange. Looks like squabbling with me really gives him pleasure.
Gross.
It must be quite unusual for ALEISTER to hear someone fight his rudeness with rudeness. Usually, everyone either plays along or avoids him.
So did you go to see the professor? What was it like? I saw him today, and he was as calm as usual. So what happened? You gave up without a fight?
Let's just say I used a juking move.
A juking move? Yeah, right. The professor probably made you polish his shoes and beg for forgiveness.
What if I told you that the professor blushed like a girl and wouldn't look me in the eyes?
You think I'll believe that? Nonsense. What was it you did to him?
I confessed him my love.
You did what? Are my ears fooling me?
I see you're slow today. Let me repeat. I told Goldstone that I'm in love with him.
Don't annoy me, stupid half-blood. You're lying, aren't you?
Like I don't have anything better to do. Look, I don't need problems at school. That's why I decided to lie to the professor that my love for him had made me so anxious that I said all that nonsense. I had no idea that he'd believe it. But not only did Goldstone believe, but then he started stuttering out of surprise. Not to mention that he was as red as a lobster. And when he started telling me that there can be nothing between us and that I must behave.
You're killing me. You made such an idiot out of Goldstone. ALEISTER was shrieking with laughter.
ALEISTER was shrieking with laughter. There were even tears in his eyes when he imagined it all.
Blushing and stuttering, you say? Damn, I can't stop laughing. Wow, that's not what I expected from you.
Anyway, why did you invite me here?
I was just bored, and then I thought of you.
Oh, how nice. I tried to put as much sarcasm as I could into that phrase. And is that all you wanted to tell me?
What would you want to hear from me?
Is ALEISTER flirting with me? What's all this supposed to mean? Better lay it on the line if that's what he wants. I'm not going to play any guessing games. Well then, since you have nothing to say, I'm going to go. I was just about to leave, but ALEISTER caught my hand.
Are you sure you want to leave just like that?
Why? Is anyone going to stop me? ALEISTER, if there's nothing you want to say, then I'm just wasting my time. I have to go home.
You want to leave? Fine. Just wait a second.
Alistair pulled a crumpled piece of paper and a fountain pen out of his pocket. He put the piece of paper to the tree and quickly wrote something. Then he waved it around a bit so the ink would dry.
How do fountain pens work? I thought they needed like an ink pot. You can just carry a fountain pen around and it'll work like that? I don't understand them.
After that, he folded the paper in half and gave it to me.
Read it when I leave.
Alistair left without saying goodbye. What if he really did get offended by me wanting to leave so quickly? Unbelievable. Alistair Darkrose himself got offended by me. Usually it's the other way around. I honestly waited for Alistair to disappear among the trees and opened the note.
I like you, Half-Blood.
What? Is this a joke? Since when does Alistair like me? I've been studying at the academy for almost a year now. And this whole time, Alistair and his sisters were diligently making my life miserable. Why the sudden confession? And on paper? Even despite the fact that Alistair had been acting strange recently, I still didn't think it had something to do with me. Matter of fact, I thought that Alistair got tired of his sisters being the only people he talks to, and was looking for a conversation partner to sharpen his wits with. It seemed to me that after that incident with the professor, Alistair decided I'm capable of confronting him in a verbal joust. But I could have never thought that there was something more behind it. I carefully folded the note and hid it in my pocket. Now there's definitely nothing for me to do here. I should hurry home before it gets dark.
Okay, and now I think this is where we find the, whatchamacallit? Actually, why is it broad daylight out? I thought it was evening now. But I think this is where we find the quartz.
In the yard of Uncle's mansion, I thought of Alistair and his note. He's so arrogant and sarcastic. I would have never thought he could even so much as look at a half-blood. Maybe it's just a joke. He could have easily made a joke of it, I think. But he looked sincerely upset when I said I'm leaving because I don't want to waste my time with him. I started walking up the stairs to go to my room, when suddenly something glared in the grass by the first step. Yeah, this is where we find the quartz. Robin being a... we don't need to ask anything. I don't think that now is a good time to bug the detective with questions. We tell the truth about Robin. Skip on ahead. But something didn't... Yeah, here we are now examining, like, where the murderer was lurking and looking in our bedroom window.
But something didn't go as planned, and you came home much later. The perpetrator got tired of waiting for you, decided to get out of here, and headed toward the gate. But you caught him.
Then why didn't he kill me when I followed him? There was no one there but us, and he could have done anything he wanted. Oh God, how could I have been so foolish?
He lost the crystal that was intended for you not long before, remember? The attack would have been meaningless without the crystal that he dropped by the stairs when he was watching your window. That's why he chose to simply flee.
Could it be that staying out to talk to Robin saved me from death? It's funny that Robin helps me, even when he's unaware of it. I will order for the gardener to get rid of this ivy right away. I doubt that I'll be able to sleep at night if it stays under my window.
Good day, Lady Mia. Detective Blackwood. Lord Silverlight is waiting for both of you in his study. Seems like he has important news for you, Detective. Follow me.
Okay, skip on ahead, accept security of the police officers. Wonder what happens when we refuse the security. Haven't seen that yet. Accept security. Then we're gonna get attacked at night. Wilhelm's weird. Oh, now we're interviewing Lauren. Alistair shows up. He gets in a fight with Robin. Okay, now he's saying who should protect us. So this will take us down the path of Alistair coming over. Then we go to his private park. And then we hilariously see Wilhelm on the bridge. Hydrate? I'm staying fully hydrated. That's what the long pauses are, is me taking drinks.
So yes, ALEISTER. I want to invite here an elf who I study at the academy with. His name is ALEISTER Darkrose. ALEISTER Darkrose? Yep, we know him. But there's no denying it. He does have a special charm to him. Some sort of charisma that makes me think about him over and over. Talking to him scares and makes me want more at the same time. I remember the way ALEISTER first told me about his feelings. It was in the academy garden, where he invited me to come after class. It's funny, but he didn't manage to say it out loud, and wrote me a note instead. When ALEISTER came to my house, he was much braver, though his specific sense of humor made it hard to understand whether he was serious. A sudden knock on the door distracted me from my walk down memory lane. Is that ALEISTER? So soon? Come in. You have a visitor, milady. It's Lord ALEISTER Darkrose. He's waiting for you in the sitting room.
Very well, I'll be down in a moment. Despite being ready for this, my heart started beating faster anyway. I didn't know what to expect from ALEISTER, but I really wanted to see him.
Is it just me, or does the half-blood need the help of almighty me?
You came so soon. I can imagine the way you rushed to my rescue as soon as you read the letter.
Don't flatter yourself, you foolish creature. I was simply in the neighborhood. That's why I came so soon.
In the neighborhood? Just like when you ran into Robin?
Oh, don't even remind me of your browy friend. In any case, he turned out to be a loser, since I'm the one here and not him. But that doesn't surprise me at all. No one can withstand competing with me.
ALEISTER, your cockiness is off the charts.
Ha! If you didn't like it, then I wouldn't be here, am I right?
I had nothing to say to that, so all I could do was smile.
So you've decided to summon me because of that attack? Am I like a bodyguard now?
I had to tell ALEISTER some details, carefully trying to avoid any mention of my uncle in this part of the investigation. The story turned out to be a bit illogical at times, but on the whole, it was believable.
So, you want to say this criminal can return?
I really hope that it won't happen.
You know, my father thinks that this killer is trying to pretend he's a mage. That's why he's using all that magic gorgor. And that his real aim is to rid the city of half-bloods. Father believes it may be one of the pure-blooded elves. But I've heard that there's a different theory as well.
Could he know about Uncle Askold's theory?
If you're wondering why I'm talking so fast, it's because we just read through this not that long ago, but I also don't want to skip through because it'll probably skip too far. It's a theory about the killer really being a mage who somehow knows how to mask magic emissions let out during ritual murders. How can anyone believe in such nonsense?
ALEISTER fixed his eyes on me. What's he waiting for? Does he expect me to start defending Uncle's opinion? Or to agree with his father? No way, I better not argue with him, especially since there's a risk of spilling the beans. Oh, I'm merely a foolish peasant. How dare I discourse upon such matters? No match for the noble Lord Darkrose. You definitely know the truth about everything.
Oh, you're flattering me. I'm not as smart as I may seem at first. Very well then, since you're in my hands now, I want to show you one special place. Get ready.
There was no need to talk me into it, especially since I was already prepared. To my surprise, ALEISTER took me to a very beautiful park. It was calm and quiet here. And what's important, no humans or elves.
What do you think?
Oh, it's so beautiful here.
Actually, that's one thing that doesn't quite make sense, is how does Wilhelm find us here? It's a private park. Unless he was watching the house and watched us leave and followed us that way. That would be the only way that would make sense, I guess. Our father doesn't like guests. As well as walking, celebrations, noise, and meaningless conversations.
What is he like then?
If such a thing does exist, it is unknown to me.
Ah, I'm so sorry.
It has nothing to do with you. You don't have to apologize. We're getting that hilarious sneaky image again. Yeah. Be ready for it. Be ready. He's coming.
Could the great and dreadful ALEISTER Darkrose be lonely? Who could have thought? So your sisters can be somewhere around here too?
Maybe they're here, maybe they're not. I'm not their shepherd to be keeping track of where they go.
But I thought that twins can sense each other at a distance.
What about reaching each other's minds? Absurd. Let alone, we're not twins, we're triplets.
ALEISTER, could you tell me why we came to this exact place?
When I was younger, I used to hide here when someone was looking for me. I wasn't too communicative, you know? Learning to communicate with other children and adults is hard when you spend all your time with sisters and don't see anyone else. Now, someone is looking for you. Trust me, this is an excellent place to hide. Well, you turn out to be wrong about that, Alistair. Even time flows somehow differently here.
Thank you for showing me this place.
Just don't think that I did this for you, Parker. It's just that I haven't been here in a while, so I decided to take you along since you've been Pose.
Oh, you just wanted to get some alone time with me.
Maybe. So what about that killer? You didn't really think I'd believe that nonsense you told me, did you?
Was it really that obvious? Apparently the detective was right when he said that my face always gives me away. Trust me, if I told you the whole truth, I'd have to kill you.
You don't have the guts to kill someone. So what about the killer? I'll never believe that your uncle suddenly decided to obey my father and stopped investigating. He's as stubborn as a mule. He literally makes my father crazy.
Alistair, the thing is, Uncle is forbidden to tell anyone about the necromancer.
So it's true. Lord Silverlight really is sure that the murderer is a warlock.
Oh no, I gave it all away after all. Well, since I've already screwed everything up, then I might as well relax. You don't have to believe me, but Uncle's right. I saw the killer myself, and he is most definitely a warlock. There's no mistaking there.
So what does he want from you?
As far as I understand, he's ill and going to die soon. Uncle said that the warlock wants to gather a specific amount of half-blood souls so he can migrate into a new body and become immortal. He nearly killed Lauren and me, so now he needs one last soul to carry out the ritual. Plus, he has a special dagger that turns souls into energy.
Do you realize how ridiculous that sounds?
You don't have to believe me. The choice is yours. There he is. It's our boy.
There he is.
What's he doing? He's sneaking. He's sneaking. I wanted to say something snarky, but then I saw a dark silhouette appear on a distant bridge. Despite the fact I wasn't able to see his face from that far, I could clearly tell I knew that elf.
You gonna go rest now?
Okay. Have a good rest, my love.
I love you too. Talk to you later.
Mwah. Alistair, we're not alone.
Alistair,
Alistair followed my gaze and saw the silhouette too.
is that him?
Yeah. But then, the warlock disappeared as suddenly as he appeared.
Okay, I think this is probably going to play out all exactly the same. Okay, and now we are in the epilogue. So 1 month later, waiting for the electricity to subside. And now we talk back to the sisters when we meet them. And I think we're safe to skip on ahead.
It's still funny to remember the way Alistair wrote me a note in our first meeting because he couldn't say that he liked me out loud. Oh well, I must hurry.
Mia is keeping me waiting again. Is it really that hard for her to simply come on time? Why did, of all girls, I start liking her? Huh, half-blood. There's something in her. Something special. She really isn't the scaredy cat she appeared to be. Standing up to the professor was quite brave of her. Damn, I still can't stop laughing when I remember her telling that Goldstone Popinjay. Her telling that Coldstone Popinjay that she was in love with him. Popinjay? What the hell does Popinjay mean? Does it mean lie? Because his name isn't Goldstone Popinjay. Oh, that was unexpected. Why isn't she here yet? What could be more important for her than a date with me? This is making me irritated. I don't like it when people are like... Popinjay is like a fop or a dandy. Okay. Suddenly, I noticed movement in the depth of the park. Upon a closer look, I saw that it was Mia, accompanied by my sisters. Ha, they've intercepted her once again. Those unbearable girls. When will they get tired of playing spies who are tracking an international criminal? As a matter of fact, I found it funny that Rosie and Lulu were behaving this way. I would even say that it was sweet. But Mia, on the other hand, doesn't seem to be able to appreciate their care for my honor. Come along, Rosemary. It'll be better for us to avoid being seen with such a persona.
Of course. Go on. We wouldn't dare take up your time. Well, unless you want to stay and maybe see something extremely interesting.
No way. The squabbles are as entertaining as usual. I used to think that no one could compete with my sisters when it came to verbal jousting, but Mia's transfer to the academy turned out to be a gift of fate. So what was that extremely interesting thing you wanted to show them?
Oh, who knows? There's always something interesting happening around me. Maniacs, killers. Stick with me, and your life will be full of adventure.
Haha, sounds tempting, but in that case, in order to not miss any fun, you'll have to be with me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, seeing that you end up in the thick of things as soon as I turn my back on you. She bravely looks forward with a smile, and isn't afraid of problems. That's what I like about her so much, and I'm glad that she isn't frightened by such relations with my sister. I must admit that you've piqued my interest, but I've invited you here today for a completely different conversation.
Really? And what does such a noble elf wish to discuss with such a simple girl like me?
We'll be graduating from the academy this year, and now we have to decide what to do next. You know well enough that such a talented and smart young man like me must study at only the most prestigious educational institutions.
Now, your talents are something I can't argue about, Alistair Darkrose. I'm afraid that no one in our class knows the exact sciences worse than you.
Ha! That's exactly why I've decided to become a lawyer and not a mathematician. And next year, I will be entering the Wasserman a university to study law.
Really? That's great, but it's in another city. But it really is a good option for you.
Actually, for us. You didn't think I'd leave you here in the care of your reliable eyebrowed friend, did you? No adequate man in his right mind would entrust a human with taking care of his treasure. Especially a... Whoa, okay. I'm gonna say that. Furthermore, weren't you the one who said that you're always surrounded by maniacs and killers? That's priceless educational material. Besides that, you will be able to find something that you like at that university as well. I mean, you haven't chosen what you want to study yet.
Just admit that you'll miss me.
Perhaps.
I want to hear it.
You're unbearable.
Come on, man up. Just say it.
Oh, me is playing the man card. Ah. Now it's not a loud kiss on the cheek. It's a full-on snog on the mouth. I'm not gonna say it, Augie. I pulled that unbearable girl closer and gave her a kiss. Never before have I felt so happy. I love you, half-blood. Perfect ending. Together forever! And we got the achievement for perfect ending. We didn't get the achievements for the other two endings, but according to the guide, it's because you need to switch to Russian before the final frame to get those. So I'll go back and get that some other time. But bear that in mind if you were trying to do this yourself. That's how you get the other achievements for Alistair's other two endings. And so yes, we've got all three endings for Alistair now. That's one guy down. Now we've got to do Robin, and we also need to get the perfect ending for Maximilian. At least, Alistair is our age. That's at least something. How many endings in total are there? I think there must be 9. A bad end, a good end, a perfect ending for each of the 3 romances, which are Alistair, the school bully, Robin, our human childhood friend, and Maximilian Blackwood, the detective, the dark elf detective, assigned to the case. But I think I'll take a chance to get some more food in me and stuff before we begin on Robin's path.